Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl BrittReacts, and today we're going to react via a kind suggestion to President Trump's 5K baby bonus. It's a great idea with this exception. This is from Matt Walsh. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, the Trump administration is considering a plan to reverse the decline in the birth rate. And before we get to the plan, we should establish that, yes, birth rates are declining at a record pace. It is a major crisis. Speaking of Elon Musk, he's been talking about this, of course, for a long time. He issued a dire warning during an interview recently. I think this was on Fox News a couple of weeks ago. But listen to this.
The birth rate is very low in almost every country. And it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying. And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to. And I worry generally about the strength of America. You know, America is the central column that holds up all of Western civilization. So if we've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's all over. You can't run off to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong and will be strong for a long time, or that roof's coming down.
Wow. Elon is such a straight shooter that I do believe it's hard to misinterpret the things that he says. I can't speak to the things that he does, but I think he's just a straight shooter. And I think to say like humanity is dying and we're not prepared to react to like evolution essentially decreasing is, I mean, it's a wild thing to think about. I mean, for me as a Christian, someone that believes Jesus need to hurry up and come back and get me anyway, Lord, just rapture us up. That's my belief. You don't have to believe it. I do know and believe that there is an end of days anyway, but I mean, that's still such a powerful thing to think about. Keep all your comments to yourself. I believe in the Lord. It is not new news over here on this channel. It is not fake news over here on this channel. You don't have to believe it. Okay. All right. Anywho, yeah, I mean, I just think to hear it in such a matter of fact kind of ways, it's a bit jarring. Like, wow. I don't think it's a secret the birth rate is down. And I think a lot of us at least have our theories or understand why. A lot of it has to do with the younger generation just not wanting to procreate for reasons like it's expensive. They can barely feed themselves. Why would they bring children into this world? I think marriage is another thing that we're seeing less and less of. Less men and women are wanting to get married and thus creating families. But yeah, I mean, to think he said in 3 or 4 generations, Korea, I believe that's what he said. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Their population will be 1/3 of what it is today. That's big news, friends.
Or that roof's coming down.
Well, he's exactly right. It may sound dramatic or overblown to say that humanity is dying, but it is. It actually is. I mean, the birth rate hit a record low in 2023 in the U.S. The birth rate was 55 births per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44, which is how they count the birth rate.
15 to 44?
Which is the 15 to 44.
I didn't realize that was the window as far as where we get our numbers. 15? Jesus, clutch on my pearl.
Which is how they count the birth rate,
Wow.
which is the lowest in history. And just to give you an idea, because these numbers can sound kind of meaningless if you have nothing to compare it to. It's kind of hard.
Okay.
That's and maybe one of the reasons why people are whistling past the graveyard on this thing is like it's hard to conceptualize What is a high birth rate? What's a low birth rate? So for comparison, the most recent birth rate we have data for in 2023 was 55 births per 1,000 women. In 1950, for example, it was 106 births per 1,000 women.
Half.
Okay.
That's half.
In 1850, we don't have exact data for this, but this is estimated. It's estimated that the general birth rate was upwards of 300 births per 1,000 women. So follow the trends here. The birth rate was cut to a third from 1850 to 1950, and then halved again from 1950 to now. The birth rate is so low now that our general birth rate today is about equal to what they call the crude birth rate in 1850. The crude birth rate is the number of births per 1,000 people, not just 1,000 women of childbearing age, but per 1,000 people. So in 1850, the number of births per 1,000 people was about 45, and now it's 55 per 1,000 women. Okay, so it's
Another interesting thing I would love to get you all's take on this, myself included, and quite a few of my friends, we all have like really big age gaps with our children. A lot of my friends, we have 2 children. My very best friend, like I'd say at least 4 of my friends in my friend group have an oldest and a youngest with a wide gap. My very, very, very best friend, she has a soon-to-be 14-year-old and a soon-to-be 1-year-old. I kid you not. I have an 8.5-year gap. No, almost 9-year, closer to 9-year gap between my 2 kids. My brother and I, 8 years apart, very best friends. Anyway, I say all that to say, what I do see as well is like we had babies when we were younger, and unfortunately we weren't married or in relationships that lasted the test of time. But then we got older and we got into those relationships and we had other children. And what that age gap has taught me, like I am obviously in a much different place as a mother to my infant than I was as a mother to my infant. I'm a different person, yes, but I'm in a different financial situation. I'm in a different mental space. I'm in a different relationship space than I was when I had my daughter than I am now with my son. And I can tell you now, having parented a child for 10 years and now parenting a new child in this new era of life and how the world is like, I don't want to bring any more children into this world. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would say, and all of my friends who have that big age gap, knowing how it was back then and knowing how it is now, I think we're all on one accord with that. Like, I'm okay. I don't need to bring any more children into this world. How much it costs to do it, you know, how scary it is nowadays with the information you're given, where doctors will kind of dismiss how you feel so that they'll pass you on to have a C-section or some type of other medically more expensive type of birth because they are looking to cash checks. It's like all of these things that women are being thrown, and we're just deciding like, all right, the buck stops here. Tie them up, throw them away. I wonder if you have that same sentiment, or you can agree with me, or if you disagree, I don't know. But these are just kind of conversations my friends and I have. And I think all of that contributes to the low birth rate. What are your thoughts? 55
per 1,000 women. Okay, so this is a catastrophic decline in a relatively short amount of time. Mm-hmm. In fact, the only group of women that have seen stable or even increasing birth rates is the over 40 bracket. Mm-hmm. So women over 40 are having more babies. Everyone else is having fewer, a lot fewer. They're more stable. So the age group where there's an increased risk of pregnancy complications, increased risk of stillbirth, of miscarriage, of preeclampsia, of all kinds of problems with the baby. Your chance of having a baby with Down syndrome is about 1 in 1,200. I have 2 theories for that. One, women in their 40s are healthier than ever. Like 40 is absolutely the new 20. I know that's always been a saying, but like if you're looking at women, I'm almost 40. I'll be 37 this year. And I have
an 18-month-old. And I have never felt more in tune with my body, but also wanted to be more in tune with my body, and taking my temple seriously and feeding it right and treating it right and worried about the rest that I'm getting. Like, I've never been more in tune with my body. And I've never felt more capable. And so I think that's one factor. And I think also women in their 40s are just more stable. They're more financially stable. They're in a position to have a child and bring a child into this world, and that child have a good, stable life. Women in their 20s or 30s are not feeling that way right now. They're just not. It's not a priority for them. Those are my two theories. Let me know what yours are. But as one of them, as crazy as that sounds to me, I'm putting myself in the 40-year-old category. I had a child and I was a geriatric pregnancy, which was so funny to me because I turned 35 and 2 weeks later had my son. So I was geriatric my whole pregnancy for that reason. So it's just funny to me because, like, they do make you feel very different than they do when you're 26 having a baby. Like, they let it be known that you're old and you're having a baby. But by the grace of God, I had what was the perfect labor. I didn't feel perfect during my pregnancy. I was sick as all get out, but like stats wise, it was perfect. And again, I do not take that for granted. But I did that in a geriatric pregnancy. Geriatric. Not a gastric, because I said gastric once and y'all tore me up. I'm a clown.
Increased risk of stillbirth, of miscarriage, of preeclampsia, of all kinds of problems with the baby. Your chance of having a baby with Down syndrome is about 1 in 1,200 if you have a baby at 25. At 40, it's 1 in 100. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're talking about drastically higher risks, pretty much across the board, for the mother and the baby. Mm-hmm. And yet that is the one age group that we've decided should definitely still be having a lot of babies. I mean,
have we decided?
So the way it would work in previous generations is that women would sort of stop having babies around 40, or at least they'd be on kind of the tail end of their. This is when once you get to 40 into your 40s, you have not only have you had a bunch of kids already, but your kids are, you've got kids that are getting ready to move out of the house. Or already have. So previous generations stop having babies around 40. Now that's when we start. And that's just insane. It is an insane way of trying to maintain a civilization. It doesn't work this way. You can't do it this way at scale.
At scale.
Okay, so now there's always going to be exceptions. You could always, I know someone they had a baby when they were 42. Okay, but at scale, at a civilizational level, you cannot do it this way. It does not work. So, in other words, this is a crisis. It's a major problem. If the survival of our species is important to you, then you should care about this. I mean, it matters a lot. So here's Trump's idea to help reverse the trend. New York Post reports, President Trump endorsed giving new mothers a financial award on Tuesday after a report surfaced that the White House was considering handing out up to $5,000 per delivery to reverse the decline in U.S. birth rates. Sounds like a good idea to me, Trump told the Post in the Oval Office when asked about the reported cash incentive to get more Americans to have kids. The administration's deliberations over the so-called baby bonus were first reported Monday by the New York Times. One plan would give a $5,000 incentive to new moms, while another would see that 30% of all Fulbright scholarships be given to applicants who are married or have children. Okay.
I have seen this headline across the internet, and some of the comments I have seen are things like this. One, what the heck is $5,000 supposed to do? Two, so you want me to just have a baby for a check, not because I want to have a child and raise this child. Three, perhaps if you made food and childcare and everything it takes to raise a child more affordable, women would have said babies. And so on and so forth. These are the things I've seen. I'm bringing that to your attention. One, what have you seen? Two, do you agree with those counter comments to this thing that Trump didn't say he was putting in effect. He just endorsed it and said he felt like it was a good idea. I think a lot of times people see a headline and like Trump is making this happen. It's like he simply just said he thought it was a good idea. He endorsed it. Do y'all know what that means? He did not say he was going to push it to happen today. He's just saying, I recognize there's a problem. I've heard that this is a solution, because here's the thing. Everyone wants to complain about something, but no one wants to bring forth solutions. And the only way to have an answer is to at least brainstorm some solutions, right? So this is one of them. Do I think it's a good idea? Who am I to say what a good idea is? But is it something I would do? Would I now go have another baby for $5,000? Absolutely not, because $5,000 is 10 pack of diapers as far as I'm concerned. Forget about it. Okay. The day we decided my son was done with formula, hallelujah, my bank account was so happy. My bank account was thrilled, ecstatic.
Given to applicants who are married or have children. Okay. Now, I think this is a great idea. I mean, I'm very much in favor of almost any plan to incentivize people to have kids and start families. The only stipulation I would make, and that these plans should make, is that whatever the reward is, you only get it if you're married. Okay, we don't want to incentivize single motherhood. It's not as simple as we need people to have more.
Now, y'all love to come at me about Elon and his 37,000 children, but it's fine because he can afford them. But Matt Walsh here is saying, stop bringing children into broken situations where they are less likely to thrive. I come from a single parent household. I had to overcome probably a lot more things and learn a lot more outside of my household, because there was not a woman and a man together in a united front. There were not two parents. There were not two people in the household. And here's what I've learned now being married. I was a single mother to my 10-year-old for 6.5, almost 7 years. And now in a married union, we've had a child together. I can tell you there's a grave difference. And I can tell you God intended it to be a two-parent household for a reason, because where one drops the ball, the other one picks up. When one can't figure it out, two sure can. You know what I mean? There's a reason why there should be two parents on the front at all times. I totally, absolutely agree with that. I'm just bringing up the fact that a lot of you have argued with me in the comments when I talk about Elon, and I'm using Elon as an example because we can also talk about Nick Cannon and all these other men out here shooting up the club. And by shooting up the club, I mean not shooting blanks inside these women and creating all these children inside of different homes, which are broken homes. And a lot of them are doing it intentionally. Yes, you can write a check, and yes, you can pay for education and diapers and all these things. But what a child truly needs is rearing from two people, and that cannot happen when you out here creating single mothers. I said what I said.
Married. Okay, we don't want to incentivize single motherhood. It's not as simple as we need people to have more kids. Yes, we need people to have more kids, but in a certain context.
We need nuclear families.
If the goal is to maintain, support, and protect human civilization, then yeah, I mean, step one, you need more people. You need the people who are here to create more people. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. But then as part of that, it's not even like step two. As part of step one, the new people who are born need to be born into a certain context, and that context needs to be the family, a stable nuclear family.
I agree with this, Matt Walsh.
So we don't want to incentivize single motherhood. We don't want to give, a woman who already has 3 baby daddies an incentive to go out and find 3 more. So it should be $5,000 per delivery if you are married, only if you're married. Make it $10,000, and if we are whittling down the pool a bit like that, then make it $10,000 per delivery. Make it $20,000. Okay.
All that's going to do is pay medical bills, so no one is pocketing anything. This is what women are saying. This is something that I think needs to be discussed among women as far as if it's going to go into legislation. Let's at least talk to 100 women on the street. Because at the end of the day, yes, parenthood can be between two parents, but only one person carries a child. And let's be 100% honest, y'all. It is rare that rearing a child is 50-50 between two parents all the time. There's always one person picking up more slack than the other. And more often than not, I do believe that it is typically the woman, as the bearer of the child, as the traditional one to kind of do all the things. Let's just be honest. And I have said this a million times. I am not a conservative, but I do have more traditional Christian values because of my Christianity and my belief in what the Bible says. With that being said, I have many very close friends and family members who are in same-sex marriages and have children and created children through means to do so. And this is not me looking down on them or telling them they're less than or they can't create beautiful human life and raise beautiful human life. I'm watching it be done. But I'm also telling you that I do believe, and I know a lot of these men and women who also tell you, like, my child they're missing this. And so they put them in certain activities, or they make sure they have a mentor that is of the other gender and things like that. They do what they need to do to expose their children. And is it my job to judge that? Absolutely not. But I do believe that the nucleus family is needed to keep humanity going. And statistically, you will see, I grew up in a single parent household. I can tell you statistically, I am a statistic. I found myself in situations that I probably wouldn't have been in had I come from a 2-parent household. I can say that to you. I got mommy issues. I got hella mommy issues. I got daddy issues. And I've had to work through countless hours of intensive therapy to get to where I am today. Could I have avoided and saved a lot more money had I come from 2 people who lived, stayed, and married each other? Possibly. Maybe not. I don't know. But I think my chances would have been greater. That's all I'm saying.
Like that, then make it $10,000 per delivery. Make it $20,000. Okay? And make it retroactive so that I can collect my 60 grand if we're doing $10,000 per delivery. So there's a lot that can be done here. How about this? Here's a plan I like. No income tax for married couples with kids under 18. Now, as you know, I'd like to see the income tax abolished entirely across the board for everyone. But if that isn't going to happen, which it almost certainly isn't.
Matt, I love that one. Matt, I love that one. Matt, I love that one. I just don't think the incentive, the 5,010, whatever it is, because medical bills. I was insured. I was on Medicaid when I had my daughter. Y'all know I'm very honest about how poor, broke, and on every government assistance I was when I had my daughter at 26. Just low down, broke. But with my son, I had insurance and I still came out of pocket. Well, I think it was about $4,000 I came out of pocket after all was said and done. My medical bills, his medical bills. This is just for the hospital. So I'm not talking about like everything I had to pay for, like all the blood testing and things. Because if we're doing that, then I probably paid upwards of eight grand. So you're telling me you gave me $5,000? That's not even clearing my debt. How about let's not have medical bills for women that are having, that's what I'm saying. Like, sit down, legislation needs to sit down with women. Because the women are the ones that are in control of how humanity is going to evolve. Are y'all going to have a humanity in three generations from now? I don't know. Let's sit down and ask the women what they would need to incentivize marriage and pregnancies. Because women are no longer wanting to get married and have babies. Why? Let's figure that out. Throwing money at a problem is not going to solve it.
Couples with kids under 18. Now, as you know, I'd like to see the income tax abolished entirely across the board for everyone. But if that isn't going to happen, which it almost certainly isn't, then why not this? Abolish the income tax for all families that feature married parents with kids under 18. That would be the ultimate incentive. I mean, now you want to talk about an incentive. If you don't have kids, so if you have kids under 18 and you're married, there's zero income tax, zero federal income tax. If you don't have kids and you're married, you still have to pay. If you have kids but you're unmarried or divorced, sorry, you still have to pay. And people will say that that's unfair. It's preferential treatment.
Divorce,
and
too.
They're right. It is preferential. It should be. We need to start giving preferential treatment to married couples who have children. We should give them preferential treatment because we should.
Is Matt forgetting to say married heterosexual couples? Or does he mean married couples? I'm just asking because I know Matt Walsh was a conservative. So is he forgetting to say that, or does he mean just married couples? Because married couples is men and men, women and women, men and women. I'm just wondering, what do y'all think? Is he going to address this in a second? Maybe. We'll find out right now.
Prefer them. We should prefer them. We don't prefer couples that decide not to have kids. You're willingly contributing to the extinction of our species. If anything, you should be taxed more. I mean, raise the income tax to 80% for couples who choose not to have kids. I mean,
what about surrogates? I mean, they already get paid, but what about surrogates? Should they get more? Do they get the $5,000?
Be taxed more. I mean, raise the income tax to 80% for couples who choose not to have kids. I mean, you have to verify somehow that it's a choice and not a medical issue, so that'd be a little bit difficult. But either way, they shouldn't get this reward. And if you're divorced or never married and you have kids, again, we don't prefer that. That's like, you don't get the preferential treatment because as a society, that's not the arrangement that we prefer. And even if you're divorced or unmarried with kids, you should agree with this. You should say, yeah, it's unfortunate I'm in this spot, but yeah, of course we don't prefer this. This is not what we should prefer as a society. We should prefer that people are not in the spot that I'm in. That's what you should be saying. Because as a society, that kind of arrangement does not benefit us. It actually harms us. So society benefits from married couples having kids. It does not benefit from really any other arrangement. And we need to start just lavishing rewards and benefits on the people who are doing the thing that sustains civilization and ensures that it thrives. Just shower them with privileges that nobody else gets. And I know it's, I'm a bit biased because I'm part.
But then will we have people, again, just having children for the check, people who don't really desire to be parents? I do believe in order to successfully parent, you have to have a desire. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out here who have children who don't deserve them, who don't know what to do with them, who don't know how to treat them, who don't know how to rear them, who don't know how to discipline them, who don't know how to teach them. Tons of people. Or people who bring children into the world and they don't have the desire to figure those things out. We've seen it a million times, like all kinds of abuse. These people don't deserve to have children. And if you're telling people, well, if you're married and you have children, it's like, oh, well, we're just gonna have these kids to make this money. I don't know. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how much really is $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 in this day and age? You blow through that in less than a year of parenthood if you're putting it towards your children. One freaking year of college and that's gone. I don't know, y'all.
Just shower them with privileges that nobody else gets. And I know it's, I'm a bit biased because I'm part of this group that would be getting all these privileges.
Right.
But I'm not saying it just for that reason. I'm saying it because we, as the married couples that have kids, we are the future of the species. Like, we are the future. We are carrying the entire weight of civilization on our backs. It's completely down to us. And so, yeah, it's anything that can be done to make it easier on that group should be done. And I think this plan from Trump is just the beginning, but there's certainly a lot more that could be done. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed. Okay, the Trump...
Godspeed. Sorry, I accidentally started over. All right, well, we've had a lot to say, as in we, I mean me. Talk to me down below in the comments. Listen, a lot of you, I don't react to Walsh often because I get why a lot of you struggle with him. And a lot of people who are right-leaning conservative don't like him. I will say I think a lot of his titles are very clickbaity. And I can get how they, it gets the people going. It's provocative. But on this case, there were some things I found that I could agree with Matt here. And I think that's really what life is about, is finding what you can agree with and finding what you don't, and then figuring out how to just coexist. So as always, let me know how you feel down below. Please be kind. If you can't keep it cute, then put it on mute. And thank you for watching. go and have the day that you deserve. Bye.